Merry Christmas, adventurers. So, this last week, or at least last few days, I've heard some rumors. Okay, so one of them is that D&D 6e is in development for a 2027 release. Okay, I've heard that before, and it would kind of make sense because supposedly there was a D&D 6 on one of the calendars that got or schedules that was leaked a couple years ago, even. Anyway, OGGM knows that one, and you could reference him. So, and supposedly, though, some of the rumors are that it's going to be a hybrid of 5e and 1e/2e, first, second edition. Okay. Now, supposedly, Luke Gygax ran/played some 1e game for some WotC executives at a convention and posted pics online. I've searched and come up with nothing. I cannot find those pictures. If you have the link specifically to that, some provable links to some evidence, I'd love to see it. Just link it down below. But allegedly, and I ran a couple AI searches, it's asking, hey, can you find some evidence? Nope. Supposedly, though, WotC is working with Luke Gygax to work on 6e. Okay, I don't see proof of Luke working with WotC. Okay, not yet. Now, I had a lot of fun with Menser Basic, so the red box, and then after Basic, first edition AD&D, had a lot of fun with that, and second edition. So don't get me wrong when I say this, but I really don't see 1E being used a lot to work as part of the basis of the upcoming 6th edition. I just don't. Okay, so the level limits for non-humans, which a lot of people don't get that it was for balance, because yes, they have level limits at the end, but they're front-loaded at first level with a bunch of special abilities that humans just don't get. So there was a balance there. People don't get that. That's probably not going to be included. The decreasing or descending armor class, that's been talked to death. I don't see that coming back. Okay, it wasn't that much more complicated. THAC0 wasn't complicated, but it was slightly slower in play and slightly counterintuitive, but it wasn't that bad. But that's been talked to death. I don't see it coming back. Decreasing different XP charts for different classes, which combines with a really bad system for multi-classing or dual classing for humans. Okay, for multi-classing, there was a whole bunch of calculators. There was a number of calculations you'd have to do for hit points for your character and for how you use their various abilities and when they go up in levels and all that. It was kind of a mess. And then dual classing for humans was worse. You had to play a certain level, and then you had to restart at first level in your new class, use the worse tables for saving throws. You had to literally get worse going to the first level saving throws and to hit charts on your new class. And then you had to play that new class up to your old class's level. It was just an absolute pain in the butt and just not worth it. Saving throws by attack type. I don't see that coming back. I don't see that as useful. What you would end up with is you take your saving throw versus an attack based on the type of attack. Is it a poison attack? Is it a breath weapon? Is it a spell? Then go by attack type. You'd have a different chart for each class, and they would improve at different rates. So it's like every couple of levels for fighter and every several levels for like wizard. Okay, just not consistent. Whereas if you do saving throws by attribute type, this is a strength save, this is a dex save. Okay, lightning bolt. If it's lightning from a dragon, it's a breath weapon. If it's lightning from a spell, it's a spell. Just make it dexterity. You jump out of the way or you don't. Or you jump part way out of the way or you don't. And you're going to have some variety by class because different classes are going to favor different attributes. So you'll still have that difference in saving throws by class. And you don't have to have an extra chart on your character sheet. So I don't see that coming back. Now, 1E. By the time you got to the Dungeoneer Survival Guide and Wilderness Survival Guide, there were several dozen proficiencies for non-weapon proficiencies. And some of them would take more than one proficiency slot in order to get that proficiency. Just a buttload of them. Whereas with 5e, you got like 18. There's still quite a few. And depending on what you're skilled in, you can kind of customize your character along 18 different proficiencies, getting a handful. I'm a proficiency hog. I like having lots of skills in my characters. But, you know, I guess I just have to play a rogue if I want that. Or do other customization. So I don't really see 1E/2E's proficiencies coming back in the same system. Okay, we've had about 50 years. Okay, the 2027 is being held up because it's also coincidentally the 50th anniversary of the 1E Monster Manual. 2024 is recognized as one of the 50th anniversaries of D&D based on some other product coming out. And this product came out in this year, so there's a whole lot of 50s around in the last few years and the next couple. Okay, but we've had 50 years to take what was groundbreaking, okay, this awesome new game. And we have learned a lot in game design. WotC/TSR learned a lot in game design from the beginning to where we are now. And yeah, some of what we're doing now, not the best. But also some of what we did then was not the best. So, but I don't see a straight, hey, we're going to do a 1E clone. So anybody trying to peddle that, I believe is mistaken. Okay? In my opinion, second edition may be the way to go. Bear with me. So 1E could be a bit of a bear for players. 5E is a pain in the butt to bring a brand new, total new player into the game system. Okay? Because with 5E, yes, you have race and class, and you have backgrounds, and then you have feats, and then you have archetypes, archetypes being mandatory, and you have actions and bonus actions and free actions and reactions, and you know, you can see that the choice can overwhelm the brand new player. So what I would do and what I recommend is they put out something that they'll call basic D&D. Okay, I think that Shadow Dark is a good example of this, but you could go look back at like basic D&D, which we'll call it basic D&D. You give them about 4 classes: fighter, mage, cleric, rogue. Allow a little bit of put in a little rule for how to multi-class. Use the same XP chart all the way across. Make it real simple. Okay. Throw in some, that's the player section. Throw in a DM section that gives you the basics of how to run the game. Now this would help solve the perceived lack of DMs for the game, because you're putting how to DM right up front, so that even the new players can try to run this thing that they've now got in their little Christmas stocking. You have a big stocking if you can fit a full book, but anyway, you know what I mean. Okay, so the next book after basic D&D, we'll call it Advanced Dungeons and Dragons. Ooh, requires the basic D&D book to play because money, you want to sell more books. Requires that. Now the advanced book, that's where you're going to have your archetypes. But you make them in the way of the second edition kits. So if I want to play a swashbuckler, you know, I get this special ability, but I'm not allowed heavy armor. Balance. So you can customize your character with these archetypes, which are in the advanced book, but you're not going to overpower the basic player who's at the same table. You're not going to overshadow your fellow player. And maybe throw in a few more character classes. Now, you don't need a whole lot of character classes to make classes if you allow multi-classing. So example, I want to play a paladin. Well, what is a paladin? It's kind of a fighter and a priest. So let's just have a fighter who takes a few priest levels. Boom, paladin, good enough. Especially if you throw an archetype that allows, hey, I'm going to have a smite ability, but I also have to take an oath. So there's your balance. And you have to role play that out, and that's a role play restriction. That is a challenge. So your abilities come with challenges. So you're kind of balanced, maybe. That's my attempt. So after these 2 books, throw in some settings books, okay? But make them actually fully fleshed out. 5e, I hate to pick on you, but the Sword Coast Adventurer's Guide was about yay thick, about 120-ish pages, if memory serves. Comically thin, comically incomplete. Take these settings books, you throw in a few archetypes that are theme appropriate to the setting to help people kind of get into the setting. Throw a few setting specific monsters so that both the players and the DMs want to buy this new book. Okay, so now we've got this kind of modular system, and we're putting out the books at a regular interval for the company wanting to make money and the players wanting to build their library at a reasonable pace, because money matters. I would also bring back adventure modules. Now, if you don't remember these were awesome. Okay, so you had this cardboard, you had a soft cover manual, essentially. The cardboard cover would come off. You'd have a map on the inside. That's the map of the area the adventure takes place in. And maybe there's a couple little small maps. Or like, this is the map of this one little house you're going to go into. And then you would have maybe 30 to 40 pages at most of an adventure. And that adventure would be enough for 1 to maybe 3 sessions, depending on the length of session. But having this thin little thing, you could sell those for, I don't know, $5, maybe $10 a pop. All right, just go grab and go at your local comic shop. And you don't have the $60, 256-page investment when you maybe don't want to throw that big adventure down for a group that you're not really sure is going to play long term. These modules were, quick, easy, boom, cheap, and you could string several of them together to make a campaign. That's just a thought. I would bring those back. I'll also have them available as just cheap printable PDFs. Okay, you can find these in the first edition section of Drive-Thru RPG if you want examples. Just look up Adventure Modules D&D 1E. Okay, so what would also be critical is that before the first book in this series hits the bookshelves, that the actual people behind the game maybe plan this all out. We're going to make this modular system, and it's going to have all of this. This is our plan. Cohesive. So you don't have just throwing together something quasi-related every quarter just hoping that it'll stick. Because you have a plan, and it all fits. You don't have this, well, we have to have a power creep, I guess. No. Anyway, it's not going to be a straight 1E clone. Because what they could do is just say, hey, go to Drive-Thru RPG, do some print-on-demand first edition books. They look like this. This is the DM's guide. Yeah, it's not the original cover because that's a print-on-demand knockoff from Drive-Thru RPG through Wizards of the Coast licensing to print-on-demand their stuff. Now, I've seen no evidence that Luke Gygax is on the payroll yet. Feel free to correct me in the comments. I would appreciate that because I'd like to know more because I can't find it. Anyway, please like, please subscribe, please buy some dice through the link that'll be in the comment. There's a discount code for some cool dice, Hey. Anyway, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and good night.